Hello, I'm Angel and welcome to my galaxy. Those of you who have been around my channel longer probably remember the several times I tried to start a series like this before giving up. If you're one of those people, forget that you remember that. I always ended up restarting or deleting this series because I could never decide on what OCs to share or how many to share. In the end, I decided to throw caution to the wind and just try anyways. The series will be actually staying, and if the characters end up disappearing or changing, that's fine. Let that be a cautious tale for you too, viewer. Nothing will ever get done if you keep scrapping that passion project you've been working on. I'm looking at you specifically, Liam. Probably just terrified a guy named Liam. Anywho, moral of the story out of the way, you didn't come for that, you came for OCs. I have many OCs, and I desperately need to draw them more. So, that's where this video comes into play. I'll be drawing a bunch of OC-related art throughout this series, both the silly and the angsty. Oh, and don't worry, where warnings are needed, I will provide. Now into the art. Admittedly, I haven't drawn in a while, so I need something easy to start off with. Which I kinda did. Those heart hands you saw appear, I drew in a different canvas and inserted into this one because I couldn't figure out how to draw them. As for the OC, this is my favorite child, Rowan. And don't look at me that way, everyone has a favorite OC, you're in denial if you say otherwise. As you can probably see from the sharp teeth I'm drawing, they're not as cutesy as the pose may imply. They're a being that can twist and change their body to look more human-like, but something always feels off, the form I'm drawing being one of their more obvious changes. The reason I picked him for this pose is because I see them as very cute-core coded. Cute-core is all the ribbons and pink stuff, but sometimes they can have a creepy factor like Rowan. I don't know, it just fits them perfectly to me, and I have no regrets because I love this drawing of him. Something I didn't notice until after I finished this artwork is how the hair tufts at the top of his head create a very horn-like silhouette. It wasn't intentional obviously, but I think next time I draw him I'll make sure to make that a more noticeable feature. Speaking of his design, most of the time when I draw him, I feel I can't quite get that uncanny feeling I want. I do think I'm getting better at it though. This drawing is one of the first where I feel I could get that proper uncanny feeling. Here's the finished piece of art. I suppose the hearts in pink are not really helping with the whole scary thing though, huh? The next drawing I did isn't of a character, but a prop design instead. I semi-randomly decided that my OC Jacob would carry around a revolver. I say semi because I had just randomly thought of it the day I was drawing this, but it's also very common where he lives for people to keep revolvers on their person, so it's not like it's an out-of-character choice. Jacob lives in a very old Western TV show-inspired country, so when designing his revolver, I heavily referenced an old Western revolver with a bit of fantasy flair. A tip for drawing guns and weapons in general is to break them down into their most basic shapes. Guns for the most part are just a lot of rectangles. I also drew a chibi of Jacob. Some of you may recognize him as he has been featured in past videos, but I don't remember if he went by Jacob by then. He has changed a bit, but I wouldn't say he's changed enough to be a totally different person. I would say his outfit has probably changed the most. He used to wear this very loose and flowy outfit that showed a bit more skin. I liked that outfit, but as I developed him, it just didn't suit him. It didn't suit him for many reasons, including his personality, job, and where he lives. He is the type to just put on whatever is easiest and closest, plus him being a doctor, I wanted him to have a more professional feel, even if it's only a little bit. Not to mention he lives in a desert, and showing a lot of skin isn't the best idea. Anyways, the art is done, and I probably rambled more about Jacob than I did his gun, but oh well. I'm very proud of this one, as it actually looks like a revolver. The power of references. Before we move on to the next piece of art, I have an announcement. Normally I put announcements in the beginning of the video, but I'm changing it up a bit and ambushing you. I have a Patreon now. Much like my channel, it's still small, but I figured it wouldn't hurt to start one sooner than later. There are 3 tiers, with the cheapest being $1 a month and the most expensive being $3 a month. Every tier you go up, the more you get. I would recommend the second tier the most, as it has the most bang for your buck. I will post on it at least once or twice a month, and maybe more depending on how many people will actually join. I will say my Patreon is 18+, not because it has anything sexual or violent, but because I do not claim to be a channel for kids. Not interested in my Patreon? Well, that's okay too. Having a Patreon will not change anything about my channel, and I value all my viewers no matter if they join or not. Now I know you're tired of my self-promotion because I am too, so let's do more art. This is another drawing where some viewers may know at least one of these OCs. The flower person you will see in the window is Sophia. I've drawn her on here before, and much like Jacob, she has changed a bit. As for the fairy, that is Ava. She was the main inspiration for this drawing, even though she isn't the main focus. Ava has a tendency to spy on humans, not really for malicious reasons. She is just curious and enjoys seeing the drama in their lives. Not that that excuses spying on people, that's just how Ava sees it. The reason Sophia is here is because her life is full of drama and Ava would definitely want to see it. As for why Sophia is crying, I imagine it's because this is when she's first moved into the city, so she's overwhelmed, especially knowing she has a debt to the man who snuck her into the city. Long story short, Ava is spying on Sophia because Sophia has drama. Oh, and yes, Sophia can see Ava, but fairies are much like insects to most people in this world, which is why Sophia pays her no mind at the window. Anyways, as for the art itself, the biggest problem I had was getting the sizing of the characters right and the view inside the apartment correct. Now that I think about it, since Sophia just moved in, I probably should have made the apartment look more empty, but I hadn't thought about that until recording. The empty apartment probably would have made the art feel incomplete though, so I suppose it's not a bad thing. While coloring, I had a bit of trouble. Firstly, coloring the characters was a nightmare. I have character thumbnails with their colors, but sometimes when color picking, it doesn't always turn out correct. It just seems off. This led to me adjusting colors a lot, especially for Sophia's jacket and Ava's skin tone. You can't even tell on the speed paint, but I fiddled with the colors for a while. The colors either looked too light, too washed out, or too dark. Most of the colors I had to change at least once, but the jacket and skin tone were the worst. The second part of coloring that was hard we haven't seen yet, and won't see it until the end. I put blue over where the window would be and made it see-through to give a glass effect, but I accidentally did the line art for the inside of the apartment on the same layer as the outside of the apartment. This meant the blue would have to go over both the inside and outside layer, making it look weird around the edges of the window. In the end, I put the blue under both the line art, and luckily it doesn't look too odd. I don't know if I explained that well, but if I didn't, just know it looked weird. That's all we need to know. With that, we are done. I like this one, but it definitely isn't my favorite of the bunch. This next one also features Ava, and was drawn the same day, so I guess I was just in a mood to draw fairies. Once again, Ava is not the main focus of this art, and this time she didn't even inspire it. Poor Ava. Next time we'll have to draw something where she is the center of attention. This time though, the attention is on her girlfriend, Evelyn, who I sketched in green. The two sketched in pink, just out in the distance, is Ava and Grace. Grace is their girlfriend. Evelyn was born without a wing, so she can't join her partners up in the air. So instead, she sits on a building edge and watches them. I was trying to create a feeling of longing and missing out here, which I think I actually did pretty well considering this isn't what I normally do. This drawing was a good practice of distance and size as well. I wouldn't say I get much practice in those areas, especially characters in the distance. Grace looks a little wacky, but at least it matches her personality. Speaking of personality, I love the dynamic between these three. Ava is the dramatic nosy one, Grace is the odd and random one, and Evelyn is the mature one who keeps them together. Admittedly, I do like Evelyn a bit more than the other two, but it's because she has more going on than Ava and Grace, at least for now. I won't be going into too much details about these three, but maybe another time. I don't mind sharing things about my OCs, even if they aren't fully developed, but I don't want to overload anyone with random character stuff. Off topic, but does that window look familiar to anybody? If it does, it's probably just your imagination. I like how this one turned out, but I feel like the lighting could have been better done. You'll see what I mean in a moment. Lighting is one of those things I either do very well or completely miss. I do remember being burned out by this one at the end, so that could be partly why. Lighting is one of the last things I do when drawing, which can make it hard not to speed through. Here it is done, so let's move on to the next. The next one is a bit silly, and you won't even know why until the coloring. I decided to do an unshaded bust drawing next, as I needed something a bit more simple. As you can already tell, this character is a TV head OC, who is named Avery. I have a love-hate relationship with this OC. I hate drawing them because of their head shape, but I love the character's personality and design. It wouldn't be so hard if Avery had a flat TV screen, kinda like Fox from Has Been Hotel, But no, I want Avery to be designed like one of the older TVs, which means rounded edges. Oh, and here's what I meant by this one is a bit more silly. I don't know who or why they are rickrolling somebody, but I do know I find it hilarious. It's very on character for Avery, and it's one of the reasons I really like TV head OCs. I would say not many OCs you can just slap an image on and it makes sense. This one was fun and got me in the mood to draw even more afterwards. That being said, this one is done and we can move on to the next one. Next up, we have the last piece of art of the video. This one I did thumbnails for, which isn't common for me regarding backgrounds. I did them because I couldn't figure out how to go about the angle. For this background, I wanted to do the classic anime blossom tree confession. If you don't watch anime, basically this trope is where a character confesses their love or does something romantic under a blossom tree. That's what I wanted for the background, but what is happening now in this art is not a romantic scene. Well, I guess it kinda is, but the two characters here don't end up together until a little bit later down the line. Speaking of characters, they are William and Charlotte. William is a organized crime boss and Charlotte is a priestess. Two very different characters who should not be together. Their story is kind of like a will they won't they story. I'm not sure if I actually want them to end up together or William refused to change and yada yada yada. I think they're cute because it's like opposites attract. William comes off very sweet and friendly despite being anything but, while Charlotte comes off as mean and distant when she is actually a saint. That's some lore I need to figure out a bit later, but for now I'm going to give some context on the drawing itself. This would be a bit after they met. They are standing outside the church where purple instead of pink trees grow. You won't see it until the end, but there will be writing showing that William is sarcastically asking Charlotte if she is going to confess her love to him. At this point in their relationship, William just likes to tease and jokingly flirt with Charlotte because he knows it annoys her. And obviously Charlotte is not amused in this situation. I imagine she asked to speak with him in private at this point because she needed a favor. Like him or not, this short man has a lot of connections and power. I love the idea of this art, but I don't think it was executed correctly on my part. I feel it may have looked better if I did a full body instead of waist up, but I hadn't felt like it at the time. I also feel I should have gone harder with the shadows. It just doesn't feel right. But on a good note, I do think I'm getting better at side profiles. There's definitely room for improvement, but compared to what I started off doing, I think it's much better. After touching up and adding a few more details, we are finally done with this piece of art. That would be the end of this video. I really had a burst of inspiration this week getting 6 drawings done in 3 days. I would have to say that my favorite was Avery rickrolling somebody, though Jacob's revolver is a close second. I will definitely be making more videos like this, so if you want to see those, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss them. In the meantime, bye bye for now.